Alright, first Judge Mathas is done. Got received pretty well. I liked it. It was a lot of fun. Definitely some improvements that could be made, though. Regardless, I definitely want to do another one. What do I do, though? Not really any game on my channel that I finished that I would like to do a Judge Mathas on. Doesn't really fit. Could do something older. I did kind of just start a Super Nintendo game collection. Could do the first game I bought. It was a Wolverine game, I think. And I think the Super Nintendo had some pretty good brawlers, even though I didn't own one. Did play at my friends a lot. And I feel like Wolverine would fit a brawler pretty well. Go check it out, I guess. See how it is. This thing on? This game? Fuck! Let me make this clear. I was not an SNES kid. I had a Genesis growing up. I went from NES, Sega Genesis, and then N64 and PS1, and from that point on, I somehow always managed to have all the consoles that were coming out. I understand, I'm very lucky. But during the SNES's prime time, I missed out on a lot of great games. Mario World, Super Mario RPG, Power Rangers, Star Fox, the list kind of goes on and on and on. But it doesn't mean there weren't any good games for Genesis. One game I remember owning that I'm not even sure stands the test of time anymore was a game called Cyborg Justice. The game had you building your own robots, punching other robots in the face, ripping the arms off of your enemy and throwing them back at them to do damage. It was so brutal for a kid at that time, where blood wasn't involved in spines of other games that I couldn't play. But it was still really cool. But I understand that I missed out on a lot of great SNES titles. So, as I got older and I had my own income, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start collecting SNES games. I'm gonna start playing them, check out what I missed. I understand you could emulate them, and there are obvious perks to doing so. But there's nothing really quite like owning the cartridge of a game that came out 20 years ago. It's a piece of history. So what's the first game I ended up buying? This piece of shit. I really wish I had picked a different game to do a review on. I do. I thought this was gonna be so cool. I remember buying this, it was $18, and the cover has Wolverine looking like he's gonna kick some fucking ass. God, I wish that's what this game was. But it's not. It's one of the worst brawlers I've ever played. And I looked up reviews for this game, and the SNES one, there was a Genesis one, is considered the best one. And the reviews are mediocre to good. I've played better games from this generation. This game is awful. Okay, let's show you just why this game makes me want to slit my throat and lean against the wall, begging for the mercy of the Marvel gods.
Wolverine. Wolverine.
Well, this bodes well. What is this music? Never mind the fact that the music is grossly out of tune, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell instrument it's supposed to be. Broken guitar? A keyboard running on almost dead AA batteries. I don't understand, it sounds horrible. Oh, and let's just have a stark reminder of how very 90s this game is, with record scratches and a man continuously saying Wolverine like he just woke up from a nap about his favorite comic book character.
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Oh no. Alright, enough of this. Let's start the game up. So our story begins with Wolverine having technical difficulties with his computer, and the IT guys are clearly late, and his anger gets the best of him, and he punches the monitor and goes out to seek the evil IT guys for revenge. Or, you know, the cliche, Wolverine gets an email about his mysterious past and now has to find out what it is by going to the place the email says. I like my version better. I will say this is one of the better aspects of the game, though. At the start of each level, a brief story cutscene is played out, like panels in a comic book, and the art is pretty well done. Each character looks great, and the colors pop really nice. That's about where the good things end, however. The first level starts up, and we're tossed immediately into some mysterious lab, I think. There's vats of liquid, pipes spewing steam, and things just firing off electricity randomly. Whoever maintains this place does a piss-poor job with safety. OSHA would have a field day in here. And once again, my attention goes directly to the music. Now instead of broken keyboard, we have some weird club music happening. Alright, screw the music. Let's just start playing the actual game and... oh god. Oh god, no. Oh, sweet Jesus in heaven. These controls, holy shit. It's hard to convey through video, but these controls are horrendous. The inputs are so delayed. How am I noticing this right away? A half a second easily occurs in between me pressing the button and his movement on screen. He feels sluggish, like he's moving through some sort of thick water, and he feels oddly heavy when jumping. For a character who's supposed to be very quick and nimble, I feel like I'm playing Juggernaut with claws. All right, I'll push through the controls. Let's just play. Where am I? What's going on? Oh, the whole first level plays out like a maze with no clear direction. It's got multiple floors to traverse, all of which look the same. And to get to each floor, you have to get on these elevators that go insanely slow. And once you're on the elevator, you're stuck. You're stuck on the elevator until you hit the next floor. All right, not a huge deal. You know, except when an enemy hits you and knocks you into the damn elevator, and the elevator automatically starts moving to the next floor, and you're fucking trapped on it until you get there, and then you have to get off and then get back on the elevator to get back to the floor you were on just to kill the enemy that hit you into the elevator in the first place. Sorry. Oh god, sorry. I got a little worked up there. Oh, and you see that number in the bottom left? Yeah, see, that's the crux of the entire game, right there. That number, that's dictating how many enemies you have to kill in the level before it'll let you progress. If you don't kill that many, oh, well, too bad. The game won't let you move forward. Whether the door be locked or an invisible wall blocks your way, yeah. Some overlord is watching your every move from a hidden camera and is counting meticulously how many of his minions you've killed. I can only imagine every time you finish killing his arbitrary number of henchmen, he lets out a heavy sigh before begrudgingly letting you move on. Maybe he plans on appealing to your conscience later, showing you footage of all the murders you've committed, and you'll enter some weird philosophical debate in a choose-your-own-adventure style twist ending, where you both discover the horrors of death and violence. I don't know. It'd probably be better than this heaping pile of garbage. Speaking of murdering people, combat is where the horrendous controls really start to shine. And by shine, I mean make you want to rip your thumbs off so you don't have to play anymore. Usually in action brawlers like these, if you take a hit from an enemy, you get a brief moment of invincibility to recover and respond to the enemy. It helps to balance when the game overwhelms you with enemies on screen. It's important in brawlers. Those precious couple of seconds of invincibility can stop enemies from stun locking you and allow you to clean some of the trash off the screen. Not in this game. Nope. Fuck you. In fact, the enemies have more of an advantage in combat than you do. Every time you get hit, Wolverine will take barely a half step backward and receive no invincibility respite. So if you're dealing with many enemies on screen, God forbid they have projectile attacks, you can find yourself in a stun lock situation being whittled down very quickly. Luckily, the AI in this game is so abhorrently bad most of the time, enemies, after hitting you, run in random directions until they decide they want to hit you again. But hey, you're Wolver-fucking-reen. You at least have a wide variety of cool attacks to unleash upon your enemies, right? Technically, yes. There's a decent variety of attacks. The problem with each of these attacks is they do the same amount of damage as every other attack. Trust me, I checked. The punch without claws does the same goddamn damage as the punch with your claws. And some of these attacks are so slow. To even do that, the wind-up animation time will just end up getting you hit. So instead of using different moves for variety, you just find the fastest one, which is the attack with the claws, by the way, and use that the entire game unless it forces you to use another one, which it will from time to time, but barely. Anyway, the first level, like I said, is a labyrinth of floors, repetitive backgrounds, and enemies. To get around is a nightmare, and you very quickly end up mindlessly wandering around until you find the final few enemies you have to kill before the game arbitrarily decides it'll let you continue onward because you murdered enough. After you've hit your murder quota, you have to swipe at some random machine in the level that is indicated by literally nothing. Then escape before the whole place blows up. Why were you here? Why are you destroying this place? What was the point of it all? Who fucking knows? Whatever. Level 2. Alright, we've got our mind wrapped around this, we understand how the game works, long maze-like levels, kill lots of and it's over. Yep, no, it's over. Complete Inconsistency is the name of the game for Wolverine Adamantium Rage. First level is a clusterfuck of repetitive level design and arbitrary numbers, while the second level is over before you realize it began. Also, I'm in Japan now, so that's the thing. Why? I don't know. I'm sure the cutscene tried to explain it, but I was too busy trying not to punch my TV, I missed it. Time for the second level boss fight, and oh boy. This has to be the worst boss fight throughout the entire game, or at least really close to it. After a semi-easy first level with no boss, the boss here is one that will absolutely kick your ass over and over again, and it brings out the weaknesses of combat even more than any enemy before it. I have 2 hours of footage of me trying to beat this guy. 2 hours of me trying to beat the first boss in a game. It's actually 3 separate boss fights in one. You see, you walk into this area and this big gray dude shows up. Sorry, I don't know who he is in the comics. I'm not a huge X-Men fan. You run up and you hit him a bunch. Pretty easy. He'll swing at you once in a while and occasionally hit the ground, knocking you over and stun locking you. Often. But overall, he's not bad. But after a few hits, he magically disappears, and some ice guy with spikes shows up. With this guy, you have to hit him in the front. If you swing at his back, you take damage because, oh, ow, spikes. Never mind that I'm Wolverine and I have a healing factor, but the healing factor in this game is also trash. You regenerate 1 single hit point every 30 seconds or so. It's trash. And after you hit this guy a few times, he also disappears, and some robot ladybug with claws shows up and starts hurling his claws at you. And because the controls are so fucking sluggish, dodging them is a chore. Oh, and don't get too close. If you get too close, you start taking damage because you are touching his pointy claws. And as you hurt him, his claws come off one by one. Hit him enough and he'll disappear and the gray guy comes back. And the cycle continues until you beat them all. Oh, and did I mention they each have their own separate health bar? Because they do. And it's stupid. Really stupid. I rage quit this fight so often, and it took me 2 days before I was able to push on. I almost looked up codes on how to skip this level, but I didn't. I beat it. I hate this game. After you finally suffer your way through the boss fights, you move off screen and on to the next level. Well, at least in any normal game, that's what would happen. But Adamantium Rage, if you couldn't tell, enjoys being special. Instead of filling up your health and moving on to the next level, you progress to the next screen with what little health you had remaining. And if you had any health after that boss fight, it wouldn't be much. Trust me. And what happens on the next screen immediately after moving? A collapsing floor into spikes that do more damage. Why? Why are they doing this to me? Why am I playing this game? Why is it so bad? Okay, alright, fine. Jump over the collapsing floor, into the next room, and where am I supposed to go? Up here? No. Over here. Nope. Fuck this. I'm looking it up. What? I'm supposed to dig at the ground? Continue through level, kill enemies, fight boss, move on. Nothing happens. And the next level is the worst offender of making you feel like you're confused and underpowered. We're in Tokyo, maybe, and there are soldiers everywhere. And these soldiers must have extra special anti-Wolverine armor because they take fucking forever to kill. Swipe after swipe after swipe, and they don't die. And I have to kill so many of them. And they have guns that shoot me from a distance and stun lock me. And it's awful. And sometimes a helicopter shows up to drop off backups that doesn't even count toward the enemy kill counter. And why aren't the people in this diner running? They're just sitting there, eating, while an army of men gun down Wolverine outside, who has got to be a well-known superhero around the world at this point. But nope, that damn grilled cheese is too damn good to put down. This whole game is repetitive and poorly designed. You enter a poorly designed level, fight poorly designed and repetitive enemies, fight boss with weird, stupid gimmick, and move on. After an hour, I was getting bored with the repetitive nature of this game. It does nothing that makes brawlers of this era a good time. Look at Power Rangers, for example, on the SNES. You get that power fantasy that Wolverine is missing. You get to fight some thugs as your high school self, and when shit gets real, bam! You get to morph into a Power Ranger with extra moves, a badass look, and you kick ass! You feel like a Power Ranger in the game. In Wolverine, no, your claws flail awkwardly. They do as much damage as your kick or a regular punch. And unlike other brawlers, you never get extra moves. You have all the moves you're ever gonna have for the entirety of the game from the outset. No transformations, no power-ups, no new moves to learn, so you're stuck with the same moveset, which gets boring after the first half hour. Especially when you learn all the attacks do the same amount of damage, so you just stick with the one that attacks the fastest. You can get stun locked and enemies regularly kick your ass. You're not Wolverine. You're some dude dressed in Wolverine's costume with knives taped to your fist. The game never gets better. How did this game get received even mediocrely like it did? It's awful. Everything that makes brawlers fun is missing from Wolverine Adamantium Rage. Power-ups to make your current moves more powerful, or expanding your moveset, or changing up your moveset the further along you play in the game. Instead, you get the same moveset you get right away from level 1, and it sticks with you for the whole game, which is a good 4 hours or so, especially if you end up getting stuck like I did. Topple that with non-responsive controls and really sluggish movement, and you've got a recipe for disaster. It's a shame too, because in the game, the fun part should be beating up the thugs and moving on to the next boss. But the thugs are probably the hardest part of the whole game, because they can overwhelm you, and without those invincibility frames for being hit, you quickly get stun locked and beaten to a pulp by just the henchmen. The bosses actually are a little easier than the henchmen, because each boss kind of hinges on a gimmick to beat him, and once you figure that gimmick out, it's not that hard to finish up that boss fight. It's a shame too, because I feel like Wolverine, especially in the 90s, would have been great for a brawler like the Power Rangers game I was talking about earlier. This was a time where the X-Men Saturday morning cartoon was at its peak, and there was Spider-Man and a bunch of other superheroes happening in that kind of Saturday morning cartoon time slot. But instead, we got what feels like a really cheap cash-in, the movie tie-ins of this genre, essentially. It sucks, because I feel like this could have been so good, but it was a huge waste. And that's why I, the Honorable Judge Mathas, judge this game as guilty. Guilty of being really terrible, and really feeling like a cash-in. It could have been something great, but instead we had to wait a bunch of years before we got a good Wolverine game. And that Wolverine game was the 360 version by Ravensoft. Man, now that was a Wolverine game for those who loved the character. I'll be putting this back up on my shelf and never playing it again. It's a shame this was the first game I bought, because man, what a disappointment. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Hey guys, so that is the second Judge Mathas episode in the books. It was really fun to make. I'll admit playing through that game was awful. I did not enjoy it one bit, but writing the script, recording, doing the editing, all that stuff just is really fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And for you guys who are curious why I'm putting this on this channel and the Judge Mathas Games channel, which you can find over at youtube.com/JudgeMathasGames, It's pretty simple. Once this goes up on the Mathas Games channel, over the next couple of days, it'll end up getting buried by all my other Let's Play series and harder for people to find. By putting it up on a second channel, where I hopefully will eventually only upload these videos, it'll never really get buried. It'll just be there for your viewing pleasure whenever you want to watch it. You won't have to dig through tons and tons of videos to find whatever video you're looking to watch. It's a little bit simpler and it keeps things more organized. I don't want to overflow the Mathas Games channel with too much stuff. I already do Let's Plays and vlogs now and again, and to do this as well, there's a lot going on there. However, I love doing this stuff. I don't plan on stopping. This is just really fun for me, and it kind of allows me to stretch my creative juices in a way that I haven't been able to do in a very long time. So thank you guys for all the support on the first episode. I think this episode is better than the first episode in a lot of different ways. I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as I enjoyed making it. I'm very excited to see what you guys are going to think about it when it goes live, and I hope you guys are excited for episode 3. I already know what I'm going to do for the game, and it's a really bad game that I absolutely love. And it's really fun to play. So I'm looking forward to playing through it a third time, because I've played through it 2 times already. Won't spoil it here, but hopefully you'll see it within a month or so. I'm going to be going on a bunch of trips over the next few weeks, so I won't be able to start it until I get back from those. But once I do, I'll get that up as fast as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.